decide what's the goal.
Many people who have are stuck in past. So why are they in that state? Even if they know it's not helping them.
Most of us feel alone here, not necessarily lonely.
If you could suggest 3 books which could actually change people's lives, what would be?
I have excerpts of it in my book on health.
So today we have Miss Aishwarya with us. She's not only a psychologist, but she's also an educator. She has been in this field for more than 10 years. She's also been a part of the Kerala Mental Health Council and also a part of many NGOs. She has helped many people heal and come out from their past traumas and have a good quality life. So how's life lately?
It's a transition time for me. I've taken role of a mother, and I also have a full-time job. Then I have my clients. So it's a mixture of things, and of course, can't forget the role I play at home to my
Right.
husband, to my parents. So it's been like I think most of us do these roles, but this period is a transition time for me. So I'm picking up, learning, unlearning a lot of things
Right.
that I used to do before. So it's quite fun, interesting, because there are things I do which I thought I would never be able to do. And there are things that I feel I'm lacking, so I'm picking up. A lot of mentoring taking place from my parents,
Right.
from my friends, and professional mentors. So it's a nice place to know I have support. So
Right.
good place to go.
So you're liking the experience?
Yes.
Okay. So, starting with the podcast. So, ma'am, do you actually feel like going to therapy helps people?
So when I answer this is a question that many of them ask before starting therapy, and no doubt when they start therapy, they don't need an answer for this. But to begin with, there are multiple factors that make therapy successful. It's not that therapist offers some magic and things change. But when you start therapy, you're starting a journey of self awareness.
Right.
There are chances that you take the blow of who you are, because when the box opens, it's not just the rights that you've been doing, but also the areas that you need to improve, the shortcomings. And sometimes it might just hit your face. So if you have the courage and the will to change your life, to get better, therapy works best. Another factor would be the kind of therapist you're meeting. So if I'm looking at internally, some therapists use a certain modality that may not fit the client, or the client may not resonate with that particular approach.
Yeah.
So during such instances, it's advised to refer, or it is advised for us to seek another therapist and try out. So therapy in general looks like for years you've taken probably the wrong prescription, and suddenly or prescription for your lens, and then suddenly it's corrected by
Okay.
something right. A prescription that's right, not the glass. The lens is what you are doing to make yourself grow.
Right.
Yes.
Actually. So, if someone is in a cycle of negative thoughts, like in the morning or night, we keep thinking about things, right? And we're not able to sleep and process information. So, what do people do during that time?
So when I am preoccupied with a thought, it could be a thought that is helping me, facilitating me to grow, or there are thoughts that could put me down, could actually hinder me from moving ahead, reach my goal. So let's categorize one set of thoughts as facilitating thought, anything that helps me motivate, something that makes me move towards a direction of my goal or personal, a potential, reaching the highest potential. But there are other thoughts that are called negative automated thoughts, something that puts us in a loop. So imagine you're going in an auto, the auto lost its brake, control of the brake. That's your negative automated thought. It just runs in a loop, and you can't stop the loop by just saying stop, right? What you have to do is you have to ensure that you're not letting or boarding at every stop of the thought. So you're letting it stop. Thoughts are like our system, our hormones. It doesn't stay for a long time unless there are emotions attached to it. So now let's say that I have a thought saying I'm a failure, and then there's an emotion that is insulted or frustrated. What is it? Whatever the emotion is attached to this thought from the incident. Now the emotion can't stay in our body for a long time. So when another emotion comes into place, the thought that remains as I'm a failure takes a different shape.
Right.
So when I'm happy and I think I am a failure, it doesn't have high intensity. So the best thing to do is just observe the thought, see, map it out where it's coming from. Also, look at the emotion that is attached to it and understand that there are certain things that are not in your control. So, you cannot change these thoughts immediately, but you can definitely observe and manage them by not letting every one of them come into your functioning.
Okay. I've seen many people who have like are stuck in past or keep thinking about their past experiences. It can be related to their family or relationships or losing a loved one. So why are they in that state? Like even if they know it's not helping them, how do we make them understand?
Mm, we're looking at grief as something that's part of our life. So it can bleed into your personal life. It can definitely affect your professional life, your social circle. You might start attaching this lost person's, flavor in different relationships. You might look for this in another person. In that case, it is managed. Um, and it is also something that will keep coming up. It is not something we forget. Whenever we generally look at people when they're grieving, we might say, "Okay, leave it, move ahead." That doesn't happen the same way inside us. It's more about accepting that this is not there, or this person is not with us, and then trying to figure out how we balance our life with this absence. So it takes time. So that's why bereaving is a time that, in different cultures they have different timelines. In Indian culture you have close to 10 to 16 days that,
Right.
based on your ritualistic beliefs you have after a death of someone in the family. And some culture you don't specifically talk about bereaving, but you have practices like providing eulogies, remembering them for who they are, setting up a legacy, following their paths, or blending it with your life as much as you can. So these are ways that you can manage and accept the person. Other than that, grief is something which becomes a part of us from the time we are born. I think even losing a toy, a child might grieve.
Right.
And probably in the future, when you're an adult, when you see a toy similar, you might suddenly remember, oh, this was a toy I had and I lost it. How I wish if I had it
Again. Yeah.
So, but it won't come from a space of despair. It comes from a space of accepting, remembering. Yeah.
When people go through this kind of a stage in their life, they often feel empty or they feel kind of a loneliness around them. So, how do they deal with that?
The concept of grieving makes anybody feel lonely. Let's say we're talking about losing a person. Let's talk about death of a very close person in the family. Each one of us would grieve in a different way, and even though we may have people around us, we may still feel lonely, because this is dependent on what kind of relationship you had established with the person you lost. So that even though you're surrounded, it may look lonely. And the concept of lonely uh, is has a negative connotation in our space. Lonely also means that you know that nobody else can be in that space to take you out, or nobody might understand where you are from. So you are accepting that this is something personal to you and you are dealing. So that is okay. Most of us feel alone here, not necessarily lonely. You feel alone because you know that everybody has their share of grieving, and this is something you have to do. Nobody else can take it from there. So, at this stage, the best thing to do is talk to a professional. Looking at this process of grieving, it may not necessarily make you feel lonely. It might make you feel alone, being alone, um, because you know somebody else may not understand the depth of your loss.
Right.
At this point, you may prefer speaking to a professional who may be able to guide you into accepting this, into making it more functional in your life. This absence and the grief should become helpful for you to deal with it rather than become a baggage.
Okay. Some people have not experienced any kind of grief or loss of a person, but still feel lonely. Like, even though if there are many people around them, they still feel lonely. So why is that happening? And it's happening a lot these days. Like I've seen in college as well. So
Disconnection can happen to us at any point.
mhm.
We might be seeing it as a wave, but let's look at being lonely as only a point of disconnection. If the person is not able to relate to the environment, it could take place. If they have a personality that naturally aligns them with themselves, that could be one.
Right.
But if I look at in general, I think post COVID or during COVID, we were forced to isolate ourselves. We were forced to be in a space that humans generally don't prefer. We don't uh, like to be set up in a space. So that deterministic um, feature of us was curbed. I think because of that, we are bound to show behavioral changes. We are looking at only the physical aspects of how the vaccination affects us. We've had a sense of socialization before it, and post COVID, we've had a different way of socializing. We prefer virtual connections even today. My family members feel comfortable having a video call over to meeting, face to face, and that's not something that we have intentionally decided. I think it came with practice, and it became more convenient. And it's a fact that we choose convenience, and it is time saving, economical. And then now we've moved to a space where we have a lot of social media content generated, and you have reels, you have shorts, you have these aspects where people showcase a certain part of their life. And I'm not here to debate whether they put up the best or the worst part, and I think some content are realistic in nature. But having said that, when you watch these content, there's a general tendency for us to compare ourselves with what is happening in another person's life. So I think now is the time where we are relating to ourselves with more of social media contents rather than what is in reality happening. Um, let's say I see a lot of reports on accidents, and if I was on the road, I would still feel limited to help someone. So, unlike in the olden days, you would have the entire neighborhood rushing. I think it still takes place, but it's drastically reduced because we've learned to become bystanders and watch what is happening. And even more scary is that people shoot what is taking place when somebody is in danger. So there's a shift in our thinking. There's a shift in the way we function, which is inevitable. And that shift could have also caused disconnection because we started to make a lot of connection, and this could have led to distancing on understanding what I really want. So we can call COVID to be one of the primary factors, but um, another would be the contents that we are engaged in.
See that the other people are doing better than them and are more successful and more happy, then they get sad and get demotivated. So how can we help them? How can we help such people?
Then bringing in the effect of media. Okay, we have news, we have newspapers, we have radio. We also have a big part of our life invested in social media. So when I'm comparing my life with somebody else, it may not be immediate, family member. It could be somebody of my age. It could be somebody who's in the same line of profession as me. It could be a student to student, right? Starting with a small child watching in media and noticing that their peer, they have a different set of toys, etc. What we're essentially doing is we are setting a comparison, and we are trying to buy joy from something that doesn't belong to us. And in this process, we are trying to forget what is in our environment, the resources we have, and also we forget about what we could achieve. So we need to remember that all of us have a different routes to achieve our goal. We may not be placed in the same space and the same time to reach a goal, but we do have our set goal to reach our best potential. If we compare, we are borrowing somebody else's experience of it rather than focusing on our journey towards our goal. So that's very important and primary to remember when we, of course, we can get jealous. It's a natural feeling to get jealous, and sometimes jealousy helps us motivate to move to our goal. So it is just like any other experience. But by that, we need to remember that we are not here to borrow the same experience of the others, but we are here to set our own goal and probably pace our goal in a way that we achieve what we wish to. So that could help us not compare ourselves with others.
Okay. Okay. So, ma'am, now let's imagine there are two people. There's person A and there's person B. And person A is very hardworking. They work 30 hours a day. They don't sleep. They don't have any schedules, but they are very successful in life. And person B is like good mental health and goes to a therapist and controlled motivation, controlled anxiety, but is not that successful. So, who is right? Who is wrong? Because like the ultimate goal is growth, right? So, this person has more growth. So what's right?
You're mapping growth in terms of money,
Okay.
right? Of course, we do.
Right.
I mean, if you are successful, money is something that comes in, but success is very internalized concept. For example, for a child, getting an ice cream that they really wish for at the end of the week, and if in good behavior set by the parents, is success. For a student to score a certain marks is success. Now we shift when we look at success as only attaining this. For example, a child has to get vanilla flavor becomes difficult
Hmm.
to define success. A child who's been scoring 50% and has scored 55 in the next examination is a success story. A child who's maintained 50% is a success story. For a person to achieve something may not always be monetarily benefiting them. So when we talk about person A, they have achieved success because they have put their effort to reach that goal. And they get that. And now, when I talk about money and success, different industries have different pay scales. Now, how are you basing it out then? Let's say you are in the mental health field and you are comparing yourself with a software engineer. It doesn't make any equation,
Right.
right? It's like comparing, there's a famous analogy comparing the skill of a fish to climb a tree. It does not take place. But establishing yourself in the field of mental health, establishing yourself in the field of software development is success. So, person A and B are both successful because person B might want to balance both their mental health and physical health and may not prioritize money. And person A may prioritize their growth, money, and also balance their mental health, which is not evident in the story, but they might be balancing. So, or they have avenues to balance. So, both are successful if both feel content the way they are moving ahead.
Right.
So, success is very subjective and it's ongoing. It is not something that we win an award or we have a particular package of pay that it stops. We
Yeah.
continue to do that till our death.
Right.
So I think being content and knowing that this step is achieved. Now I have few more itself is success.
Right. Okay. some people, or most of the people who I know like these days, are very tired even though they haven't done anything in the day. Any three steps to help them? And so, how could you help them?
What essentially is taking place is burnout.
Right.
It starts with fatigue, being tired, and burnout is something that is not just equivalent to physical exhaustion. It is something that derives out of non-purposeful or meaningless tasks we do, or meaningless attachments we have towards our tasks. Okay? So now when we look at burnout, when I'm doing something again and again, but I don't find a purpose in it, my body and my mind both will respond to it as a very laborious task. And the fact that I've attached the label laborious, my body will start feeling tired. Let's take an example of an athlete.
Yeah.
They start the race. Now, if this athlete is someone who wishes to continue their path in the field of sports, that race is something that will motivate irrespective of hurdles in the way. But if I'm looking at someone who has to join the team to represent their group and they're not ideally trained for it, they are just past the way they are. For this person, this race is like a task and a very laborious and pressurized task. So there's a difference there. So the person who's most likely to get a burnout is person B who finds this a meaningless task. Okay. So burnout and fatigue are something that you will notice in yourself when you do things that you don't relate to. And people also confuse burnout to be exhaustion because of doing the same task again and again. Again, your body can get tired, but if you look at days where you've done something you really like till 4 a.m. in the morning, it could be your job related, it could be with your friends, it could be with your family. Have you been tired? No. Probably you might sleep at 4 and you might be up to get up at 7 also if it was something that you look forward. Compared to, let's say, examinations. You study till 4 in the morning and you have to get up at 7. And when you get up, you feel the tiredness because if this is something that you don't relate and you just want to get it done, it will feel like a baggage, been there, like something heavy, yeah, and a burden. So that's how it works. Right. So burnout is something you watch out for how you would like to do the task. And the best thing to do is categorize tasks. Some things have to be done. Okay. Some things can have your interest, your flavor of creativity involved. So do that. So there are many of us who have to do mundane chores like laundry. Okay, some of us have to organize things. So when you do that, if you have a creative input in it and you also relate to the process, you might be able to enjoy it rather than finding it too laborious. And then eventually, once you finish the task, or incomplete task can also take place, but once you finish the task, you feel more tired. So you can try this out yourself. Yeah, definitely. Okay, ma'am, I'm sure you've dealt with some cases of depression. So could you share some experiences or client stories who've actually overcome depression? There are many who amuse me the way they've coped with depression. Okay. I have had few clients who have faced depression, and it doesn't look like how it is in our textbooks. Depression, generally people feel they are always feeling low. They're always talking pessimistically. It does not come out that way. A fully or highly functional person can also go through depression, and you have a term called masked depression that is named after this post COVID, when it became a hype. Depression as a condition where people feel low and people think about their life very negatively. I've had clients who have overcome depression and um, who have functioned in a way that you will not find the trace of it overtly. Um, And we hear a lot of success stories today. Deepika Padukone herself, claims that she had gone through it and then she overcame with the help of family and therapists. Similarly, people need a conducive environment to understand what they are going through. People with depression need a lot of support. It's not just people with depression. I think every one of us need. As people who are going through the cycle of mental health concerns need support that only looks accepting, being very agreeing to what is taking place rather than expecting what to happen. Um, depression needs an environment that can help the person understand, okay, this is what is triggering this kind of symptom, this is what I am moving towards. If I am thinking otherwise, I need to reach out to these set of people. So, you need a safety net created for them for different kinds of concerns. I might be comfortable talking to my therapist about certain things. I might be comfortable talking to my parent about certain things, or my friends about certain things. So I need to create a safety network where I have trusted people in it whom I can approach when I want to release what is bothering me. With that, I think any kind of situation that we are in, whether we have mental health concern or whether we have concerns about our daily life, I think it can be managed well. Advices and prescriptions to be avoided because we may have worked out something in our life, but that may not necessarily help another person. So, even people with depression, when they connect and as a community they generally share these are things that helped me rather than you should try this. So, when they connect, something that we need to avoid telling us is when I was feeling low, when I had depression, this helped me try this. This may not, but it could be something that they have as a choice to try and figure out. When you give an advice, please remember that you were giving it out of your understanding of resources this person has. That may not be true. They may not be in the same page, but you could give them a shoulder to lean on and say, I'm here when you need me, and in whatever aspect I could help, or to the limited ability that I could help, I would be there. So that solves half the problem for them.
Ma'am, do you believe in law of attraction?
I would say I would scientifically believe in law of attraction.
Okay.
Um,
Have you tried it?
so I there is no law of attraction in um, the science that I believe in. I'm not saying that there is no law of attraction. I have not tried it myself, but I do believe that this law of attraction involves rightful efforts, um, and aligning your intentions to something that you want. For example, if I believe in law of attraction, let's say I say, I want this particular thing in my life. Let's say I want an award. I can't believe in law of attraction by saying that I want this, and I'm not putting my effort towards the goal that I that would lead me to this award. So not always law of attraction in the way it is projected is going to help us. It's not something that everything manifests and but what you are manifesting with intention and with action may lead to the outcome. So uh, to summarize, law of attraction is right efforts, right actions, which leads to your right outcome. Then probably it is a success story.
Ma'am, some people want to be happy in their life, but their surroundings don't allow them. And some people say that happiness or like freedom is a state of mind. So, how do we achieve it? Is it achievable even though surroundings are not
Of course,
supportive?
the first thing to remember is that you don't let your thoughts decide what you are, because thoughts will keep coming and going, but you remain the same. So you give yourself the freedom and the choice to decide what is healthy for you. even if the environment is non-conducive. I mean, we've heard a lot of stories, real life unsung heroes who have come out of very unhealthy, um, very tough situations in their lives and who have become very functional in the society. In fact, they are leaders in our society. So I think these are the things that move us. One is resilience. Now, resilience is not something that we develop by saying, "Oh, I'm going to do it." It is a complex set of effort we put in. So starting with believing that there are things in my control, things not in my control. So how do I take charge of things that I do? The second is we're not believing that your thoughts are who you are. Because, like I said, some thoughts can be functional, some can debilitate you to a state where you don't want to perform in certain occasions, you miss opportunities. So, ensuring that your environment and your thoughts are not the deciding factors, and you always have a choice to decide whether you would like to be contained in a certain space of inhibition or where you want to move towards growth and potential.
So, from your first case to the latest case that you handled, what do you see? What change do you see in yourself? Like as a therapist, as a psychologist, what has changed in you?
A lot. And I think even if I am in this for the next 60 years, I'm still going to feel challenged by new cases because every case, as much as it gives me excitement, it also gives me uh, the shiver to know whether I'm able to handle, because at the end of the day, I'm accountable to this person's well-being, that I'm ready for it. So if I have to compare, initial days I used to feel very nervous, and I would say still excited because I felt like, oh, finally I'm doing what I really want to do. I was quite nervous because when the client would speak, I would think about, okay, I'm able to, understand, conceptualize, but now what do I do? So there used to be a lot of stuck points within me. But with the help of supervision, with the help of my mentors, I think I'm able to confidently take the chair and open the space for people to walk in. Um, right now, I'm able to also tell myself that I can make someone feel safe, because once the alliance is built, I see that both of us are working together. So that's a beautiful journey. So um, it's quite meaningful. Every session leaves me with a lot of takeaway. So I'm deeply passionate about what I do, and that has not changed over the years. But I'm equally charged to create that space.
If you could suggest three books which could like actually change people's lives, what would they be?
The first one that I really like and I go to every weekend, I would like to read about it. I have excerpts of it in my phone as well. Is the book called The Courage to Be Disliked.
Okay.
That's something I
Relate very closely with, because it teaches me that it's okay to be human, it's okay to make errors, it's okay to be who you are. The second book would be I Wish I Could Talk to Someone. And the third book would be The Man's Search for Meaning. Uh, that's a theory that I'm very closely attached to. A person who lost everything in their life and still found a way to find meaning in his life. So this is by Viktor Frankl. So if at all, it's a very small book. So if at all anybody takes time, I think this one go-to book for anybody at any point in life.
If someone cannot pay for therapy, then what are the alternatives they can use to feel better?
Yeah, we are quite resourceful here. In our country, we have a particular website called Mano Darpan, which offers free counseling. We also have few private sites that provide. One will be Vandervela, which was very famous during the COVID time. And at any point, at any crisis time, like floods or earthquakes, I see this site coming up with free sessions. Then you have Seven Cups providing, and these are something I looked up. online where they have certain sessions that are free for clients. So uh, people could check up. So apart from this, what I can do on my own would be journaling,
Okay.
just revisiting what happened to us or what is happening to us during a day. It could be a daily journal, it could be a weekly journal, but having a structure. What A journal is something that helps you pen down your thoughts about where you are stuck and where you want to be. So penning down always helps, like how you write a letter and everything becomes clear. When you write a letter to someone you're in conflict with, sometimes you would write things that you really want to say, and while you're writing you will know that there's a cathartic experience where you're releasing what you were holding up. So journaling is one such practice. So journaling would help. Another is sharing your experiences with very trusted people in your network, and leaning on to your intentions and where you want to be, irrespective of feeling lonely or alone. But being sure about your intentions can help.
Right. Misconceptions that people hold related to therapy.
That coming to therapy means getting solutions or advices. Therapy does not involve advices. Therapy does not involve getting solutions. Let's say walking in and saying, I have this problem, I want a solution. It does not work that way. Another is that therapy is cheap. Of course, I mean, therapy has its own monetary aspect to it, like how you pay a certain amount to a physician for just 5 minutes of consultation. I think it is reasonable for you to pay for your mental health as well. So, most of us want therapy to be free, which kind of questions the livelihood of mental health professionals as well.
Right.
So, that's one misconception. Another misconception is that only people with mental health disorders reach out to therapists. So therapy is not just for people with mental health disorders; it's for everyone, for that matter, for who are willing to
Right.
see themselves. Um, Another misconception is that therapists read your minds and they can come up with what you're expecting. Not necessarily. Therapy is a two-way process.
Right. Okay. So, ma'am, what is the final message that you would like to tell the viewers?
That therapy is something that everybody must experience to understand where you are in life. Another thing is be aware of who you are and accept your shortcomings as much as you're accepting your strengths. Be human. Don't compare yourself with another person's journey, and you're bound to make mistakes, and that is perfectly fine.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a great time having you here. I've learned a lot of new stuff which I was not aware of before. Hopefully, the viewers also like this.
Thank you so much, Dia, for having me here.
This is my first interaction in a space where I'm talking about this journey. I wish what I've shared today makes therapy a reliable space for at least one in the
Yeah.
audience. If it does, then my job is done.
Yeah.